Well, I'm joined right now in the Yahoo studios by Dyrus to talk about a variety of different things. The first off, Dyrus, is that we never really had a interview or a talk after you retired to talk about sort of your career. I know it's been about almost a year since you retired, so I think we can sort of dive into that. So, first off, whenever you think about your career, do you think of as a major accomplishment for you?
Well, the first thing was winning something internationally, although it was kind of anticlimactic, where it was IEM, where the best team from Korea came, and it's like, all right, we're going to prep for SK. Oh no, they lost to Flash Wolves or Gamma Bears or whatever their team was. And then it's like, all right, we're going to prep for GE Tigers. Oh no, they lost to the worst team in China. Oh, well, I guess we're going to 3-0 the worst team in China. And we won. It meant something. Yeah. And it was good for me because I never won anything internationally, because what would happen is we would win NA, and then until Cloud9 finally came around, it started to get harder, and that's when we started to get better. Yeah. So that was kind of an accomplishment for me. Also, in Season 4 was probably my best season. In the unlikely scenario that we won Summer Finals, it was like 1 out of 10, we ended up winning because I played well, Beard played well, and, we had Les Boy at the time, so it was really good.
Now, whenever you think back on this stuff, do you think of Epik Gamer at all, or in your mind is it almost all TSM? Because, even before TSM, there was Epik Gamer.
No, there is some of Epik Gamer, maybe 10%, because, Dan Din is TSM's owner's brother, Andy. And, it's what started it all. They asked me to join their team because, they figured I was pretty good. And we ended up crushing the first part of the promotion, or
the qualification.
The qualification, yeah.
For Worlds.
And there's a little bit of bitterness in Season 1 because I feel like we should have won, but what happened. You can't really change anything about it, and it started to shape the kind of person I was in terms of playing competitively. Because before I didn't really care about playing competitively if I wasn't in it. And once I was in it, I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And so when TSM got their gaming house and they were like, we're going to do this right, we're going to do this, we're going to go hard at practice, I was like, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that too. That seems like a lot of fun playing against the very best teams. And as time went on, it kind of burnt out for me. But yeah, Epik Gamer was the start of everything.
Do you look back and think about sort of the situation that you ended up in, because you kind of went from Epik Gamer, where it was kind of the small esport thing, to TSM, and eventually you were doing Game Crib and all this content, and all of a sudden you were under all this scrutiny and your stream grew. Do you ever reflect on sort of how you went from kind of a small personality to somebody who was so widely known, and any of the kind of big effects that occurred from that, where all of a sudden you had all these people tweeting and messaging you and all that kind of thing?
I never really planned it out this way, the way I do today. Nowadays, I look at my social media, how much my stream is growing, what to do to grow my stream. Back then was kind of all random. I was just in the phase of wow, I'm having so much fun. I'm doing all this. It just all came naturally. I never it's one of those questions where someone's like, when did you realize you became a League of Legends pro player? It's I never realized that I'm going to start doing it. It just happened.
Yeah. What was it like for you, though, to become a celebrity? Because, a couple ideas spring to mind. Obviously, you get this following, and then people start talking about who you're dating, and they talk about moments like when Chaos is leaving the team, and there's footage of you crying on Game Crib. And there are videos of you yelling at Reggie and you guys arguing behind the scenes. All these moments just get broadcasted all out there, and everybody's constantly talking about it. Was that something that was hard to deal with, or did you just sort of gradually get used to it?
Back then, I actually hardly ever looked at Reddit or what other people were saying. All I did was look in my Twitter mentions, and I tried to answer questions for fans because I truly loved all of my fans at the time, no matter if they didn't like me or not, because I never was exposed to all of that. I still don't really consider myself much a celebrity. I'm just, another guy playing video games, and a lot of people watch me.
Yeah. A lot of people watch you. Do you worry at all sort of about, and we can talk about this a little bit more later, but as you are trying to maintain sort of the people that have been watching you forever and sort of keep this fan base going, do you keep that in mind? And how do you try to make sure that all these guys stick around?
I try to think of new things every day that, brings people to my stream and keeps my current viewers happy. Because if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, how can they? So I'm just trying to become a better streamer by answering more questions, catering to my subs, catering to the questions asked in chat. Because before I usually would be playing pro and I just wouldn't say a single word for the entire stream. But now it's been getting slightly better. But people have started to realize from back then that I didn't talk as much and, I'm not as good as I used to be. So I have to find other ways to stay relevant.
Okay, kind of shifting back to TSM, is there a lineup or a roster that in your mind was like the best roster or your favorite roster for TSM?
My favorite roster was in Season 4. My favorite member switch was when Bjerg joined the team, because once Bjerg joined the team, he just stomped every other mid. He was a young guy, he was easy to get along with, and, he gave a different outlook on things to, how this is a job, and he tries really hard to be the best at what he does, and it kind of inspired everyone else. The next change in TSM with the roster was Lustboy, because when he came over from Korea, there's a lot of things that he taught me, even though he didn't know that much English. I would type to him a lot, and there's a lot of things they did in Korea that we didn't do in America, and that's what made me really good for Season 4. We kind of motivated each other, how Lustboy kind of liked America, and I liked Korea, so he would play a lot. Like, every time I looked at him, he was always playing, so I'm like, wow, I should play just as much as he does. And so I would stay up later and play more games, and that's how I got better at the game.
Looking at Team Solo Mid, were there in your mind any rivals or any major enemy? I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but does anyone or any team stand out in particular? Is this team that you just hated or could not stand or constantly wanted to beat?
Well, yeah, it was CLG at the time. That's when Double Lift was on the team. Well, I don't know, it was just kind of a rivalry where I feel like if we all talked it out, we'd probably, become more friendly with each other. But there's so much stuff that happened in the past while esports was growing in League that it was just, everyone's made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And there's a kind of rivalry between players because they always talk trash about each other. Even though TSM always was the one that took the finals for most of them, even then, CLG was still pretty similar in terms of wins and losses against us. It's just that when it mattered, they usually choked. So there's a rivalry for a long time, but as members left, it only became me and Double Lift left. And we used to be on Epik Gamer too, but then Double Lift ditched the curse. Lots of things happened in the past.
Was it weird for you and uncomfortable for you seeing he joined the team basically right after you left?
I had mixed feelings about it, but at the same time, it's like, if he's on the team and if he gets rid of his old problems, like I've had old habits as you grow older as a veteran pro player. I mean, we're all still young inside, but I figured the team would be fine because him and Bjerg would find a way to get along because they probably both work really hard. And so I thought TSM would be in good hands regardless because Andy's there.
Do you have any regrets looking back on your career?
I have a ton of regrets, but there's no point talking about it too much because it's already done, and I can only learn from it. And it's the regrets and stuff that happened that made me the person I am today.
Here, well, you can rephrase this too. Is there anything that you wish you had accomplished before you had retired?
There's a lot of times where a lot of Reggie's dreams and a lot of what Reggie wanted became what I wanted. One of the biggest things that I do actually regret, that's something that could have been realized at the very start, was when I joined TSM, I came from Epik Gamer, that was a team that was happy with second place. I never really adopted their idea of winning worlds super hard and taking it super seriously. I was just happy, doing well and winning in an NA. I wasn't looking past that. For them, they wanted to win all that, and I wasn't with them at the start. There was never a proper talk. We didn't have an infrastructure. And when we went to Season 2 Worlds, people weren't always together, and, things happened. So I wish I could have adopted the mentality faster, because what happened for those 2 years is I wasn't ready for it. Like, I didn't prepare myself. I was under a lot of stress. I should have probably been benched off the team in season 2. And, there's a lot of stories to be told.
Well, is there anything that you would sort of like to say to any of the fans who, cheered for you across TSM now that you've kind of had a year to reflect on it, or anything that you would like to say here at the end?
I mean, I think they all pretty much get the idea. I've said it many times in other videos, and now I'm just, even though a lot of them want me to go back to pro, I kind of just want to do YouTube and streaming because I don't really have the passion to go back to pro play.
Well, it's a good jumping off point for our next interview in just a second, where we talk about sort of what happened after your retirement and what this past year has been like for you. So stay tuned for that in just a second here at Yahoo Esports.